Good evening, and congratulations to each of you as we celebrate the 30th anniversary of the GBC Leadership, and especially congratulations to the class of 2009 for your efforts this year. As I thought about the milestone of 30 years, it seemed appropriate to take a walk down memory lane to see how all this came about and to see if the program actually accomplished what the founding fathers, the GBC Board of Directors, envisioned in 1983. So I did a little research and went back to the minutes of the GBC in 1982 and 1983 to check out the origin and the creation of the program. The very first mention of the program occurred at the November 12, 1982 board meeting and appears under the category Special Requests to GBC. The minutes talk about how the GBC is asked constantly to become involved in projects and issues, and then Board Chairman Richard Sullivan informed the board of the two most recent requests. Number one, that the GBC study the welfare system, quite a daunting task in itself, and two, that we create a leadership development series. Quite honestly, a review of the minutes reflects that the board wasn't sure the leadership concept fit neatly into the scope or workforce or workload of the GBC. So the board did what most would expect, is set up a committee to study the concept. At the February 11, 1983 meeting, that small ad hoc committee reported to the board on the idea of a leadership development program with three recommendations. One, that the GBC should sponsor a leadership development program. Two, it should establish a subsidiary entity to operate the project. And three, the GBC should house the operations, provide the in-kind services, promote and review the project, and oversee and review the program as appropriate. But Mother Nature proved to be leadership's first hurdle, as a snowstorm prevented a quorum from attending and no vote could be taken that day. So a month later, March 11th, the issue was recalled for full discussion, and the task force reported, and I'm going to quote this, the formal preparation of a new generation of business leaders is far preferable to merely letting it happen. And such a program should be designed to broaden the base of leadership, foster increased black-white cooperation, and integrate its graduates afterwards into meaningful community projects. The motion to approve the program was made by some names that many of you will recognize, George L. Bunting, Jr., and seconded by F. Barton Harvey, Jr., and was announced that the program would commence in January 1984. So March 11th, 1983, that's the date that a new program that the GBC intended to provide leadership to greater numbers in future years by recruiting a diverse group of emerging executives and providing them with high-quality experiences to adequately prepare them for community leadership. That first class in 1984, obviously the best class ever, I'm sure, had its 35 participants, including some names still familiar to us in the Baltimore community. Mark, just to name a few, Mark Fetting, J.P. Grant, Bishop Robinson, Barry Rosen, Mark Wasserman, and a brash young executive director of the Maryland Food Committee named Jan Hubolt. Wonder whatever happened to him. Standing here 30 years later, it feels good to state the obvious. The concept worked. Today, this is the premier program of its kind. It not only educates, but bonds generation of leaders together for the good of our community. It's great to see so many of the more than 1,200 leadership graduates here tonight. You remain a cadre of deeply loyal colleagues dedicated to inspire community service, benefiting countless numbers of programs to improving our community. Your presence is felt throughout our community. It's interesting to note that roughly 25% of the current GBC Board of Directors are leadership grads, including Charlie Monk, our immediate past chair, and Brian Rogers, our current chair. So tonight we celebrate 30 years of leadership and congratulate the class of 2013. Yeah, I know, the best class ever. And we also mark a notable transition as we congratulate Jan, who is retiring after 2.5 decades of exceptional achievement, and welcome David Sachs as the new executive director. Thanks to Jan, the leadership is well positioned to nurture Baltimore's next generation of business and civic leaders. And it's fortunate that we're able to hand the tiller to David, who's exceptionally qualified to advance this world-class leadership development program. The vision advanced by the Greater Baltimore Committee of Leaders 30 years ago still holds true. Now more than ever, the need exists for diverse, informed, and creative leadership to guide Baltimore's public and private sectors to success in the 21st century. And the last 3 decades have demonstrated one thing: the leadership program is prepared to help develop that cadre of leaders. Congratulations on a job well done.